Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of my XCOM Classic Ironman series. So, I know it's been a little while since the last episode, but as those of you who read my blog know, I've been working at a new job this past couple of months, and that has definitely been taking up most of my free time. But I did manage to find some time here this evening, and I'm going to try to knock out an episode, but I also want to take a little time, maybe in between the mission part and the base building part, to talk about some of the recent developments that came out of Gamescom this week regarding the newly announced expansion pack for Enemy Unknown, which is called Enemy Within and is going to be released later this year, as that will likely end up having an effect on this series. So I know some of you might only enjoy watching the tactical part and may not watch, the base building stuff that typically comes later in the videos, but maybe for this one, stick around after the mission's over, as I'll probably take a few minutes and go over that stuff and cover that in more detail before I get into the base building. So, without further ado, let's pick up where we left off. Here we have our heavy, our two rookies, and our sniper from the last mission. And as you'll recall from the last episode, we're trying to kind of repopulate our team and make up for that sniper that I so carelessly lost in the last mission. So let's get things off to a good start here, shall we? I'm also going to try at least a little bit to try to speed up the gameplay a little bit, because I know the last episode was particularly long. But I also want to be careful not to go too fast and end up screwing myself up. So I'm going to try to strike a balance. I mean, ideally, I would like these episodes to kind of hover around 30 minutes. I think that's probably the correct length for them, given what I'm trying to accomplish with them. But obviously that last mission took a while, and then there was a lot of base building after that. So yeah, we'll have to see how things go. I mean, sometimes you just can't rush this gameplay if you want to succeed at it. So I'll do my best to expedite things without being too careless about it. I definitely want to keep these rookies up front as much as I can, because I want them to get a chance at XP if possible, but I also don't want to leave them completely out on their own, knowing that the aliens could end up really taking advantage of their inexperience. So I want to give them opportunities to succeed without uh, setting them up to fail, if that makes any sense. Alright, so here we're getting an audio indicator of where the aliens are likely to be, and we'll definitely want to use that to our advantage. We also still want to be at least reasonably cautious about moving in here, though. So it looks like I might be able to get in there. Yeah, it looks like I might be able to get in there, even into like the solid cover situation, which could be a good way to break the ice in here. Yeah, let's go for it.
Enemy in sight.
Okay, so we got some aliens making a move. Looks like they all moved out of my range, but that's okay because that just means I can go on Overwatch. Alright, so let's see what we've got here with our rookie. Only a 25% chance, so not worth it. Which also means they're not going to have a great chance of hitting me, which is good. Let's see if that improves my odds at all. 45. Since I already have line of sight on them, Overwatch isn't going to really do me a lot of good unless they move, so I'm going to take this chance.
Damn it.
I'm surprised the sniper can't just see them. You would think, with the scope, that it would be totally visible right there. The only thing I guess I can do is put the sniper on Overwatch in case they step out. But I think the sniper might not be particularly useful at the moment. Alright, so I think a flank is what I definitely want to go for here. It's just a question of whether or not I can actually set it up. So this is a cover situation. It's not a great cover situation. I think what I would probably prefer to do is get the cover here and see if I can still take a shot. Unfortunately, that's not enough to be considered a true flank. There's a 45. Let's see if 45 is any better here. Okay, it's a hit, but not a kill. Looks like we're going to be buffing. See if this Overwatch hits. Nice. Perfect. And since they're linked, yeah, that was nice. Perfect. Okay, so let's move our heavy up. Just keep them on Overwatch since they only had to fire once. And let's get this rookie backing them up. Definitely like to get the sniper into a more potentially effective spot. Let's try this. Alright, and again, working on the possible flanking opportunities here. Okay. I think what I'm noticing is that the need for me to comment on what I'm doing is actually decreasing the further we get into this, because I feel like I'm just going to end up saying a lot of the same stuff that I've said in previous videos. at least about the tactical stuff, because when you get right down to it, a lot of the tactical stuff, once you have a grasp of how it works, is pretty consistent throughout the game, at least until you get to a point where new weaponry and new kind of game mechanics are introduced. But especially like in these first several missions, things have a tendency to play out kind of similarly, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because it really gives you a chance to get a handle on the tactics and get a handle on the overall game mechanics. But it definitely can make the game feel a little bit samey in the beginning until you start researching some stuff and some more opportunities open up. Alright. Not a lot of great options here. I guess I'm going to move over here. And this is all about just setting up the pincer, so that if aliens appear in between these guys, they're going to be automatically flanked. But it looks like they're going to be in that back room there. Yeah, I hear them sort of scuttling about in that back area. It's alright. Sure we can give them something to think about. See if we can see anybody.
Got something over here.
Nice. And that one ran right into the other's Overwatch path.
Damn it.
Yeah, unfortunately that time he missed, but not bad. Alright, let's see if I can get a grenade out here. Unfortunately, I can't quite position that to take both of them out. So here I probably want to look at my shooting percentage first. Only a 45% chance versus a guaranteed kill with the grenade. So I think I'm going to take the grenade. I keep feeling like maybe I can almost get that to get them both, but it's not quite. Let's see what that does.
Going out.
It hit the other one. Yep, nice. That was a heck of a grenade toss. That was probably like a 1 pixel area there where I could actually make that toss work. So fiddling around with it was definitely worth it. And as you can see, well, you can't see it here, but I don't believe any of my guys even got shot at, much less injured. So I think that was pretty much a perfect round. Now, of course, because we didn't deal with these other areas, we do have mass panic in the places we didn't go to. So that's something to keep in mind. So even though we were successful on that mission, there's still other areas that we'll need to be concerned with. That we had to, by necessity, not deal with because we took that one.
Exemplary performance. Let's hope all of these operations go as smoothly as this one did.
I concur. So the other really good thing about that is both of the rookies got to level up, and the the sergeant as well. So that's just an all-around win. I really pretty much got everything out of that mission that I wanted. I got experience for these rookies, got my higher level character to level up even more, and because we successfully completed that mission, we're going to get a free, I believe, sergeant level character to replace the one who died on the other mission. So this is pretty great. So let's see. Now here's where this one gets a bit tricky, because knowing that there's going to be robotic enemies, at a later point in the game, having extra damage done against them is a pretty great thing. But double reaction shots are pretty nice too. That's kind of a tough one. I think maybe because I did Bullet Storm on this one, and I'm able to shoot twice offensively, maybe I'll match and be able to shoot twice defensively as well. But at some point, I'm probably going to have to consider the heat ammo on at least one of my heavies. But let's go with the rapid reaction for right now on this character. Alright, so there's an assault character, definitely need more of those. And a support character, definitely could use another one of those, so that's great all around. Now because of the grenade use, we're not getting as many weapon fragments as we probably would have, but I'm not too worried about it because this was not a mission where we were looking to gain a lot of assets anyway. I'd rather just get the mission completed with no casualties or injuries. So again, here's our sergeant that we picked up. Pretty great assault pickup there. And let's move on.
We will be in touch, Commander.
Okay, so like I said before I get into the base building stuff for this episode, I do want to talk a little bit about the fact that the first, what I would consider legitimate major expansion to this game was just announced literally just yesterday or days ago, depending on when you're watching this, at Gamescom in Cologne. And it's basically, from what I understand, it's going to come out November 11th for PC, Xbox 360, and PS3. Now, the PC version will let you just pay $30 for the expansion, and I guess what they're doing for the consoles is rebundling the game with the expansion and the Slingshot DLC that was previously released for it for $40. So I'm not quite sure what the motivation for that is and why the pricing structure is different, but as somebody who already has the game on PC and obviously wants to continue playing it on PC, I'm pretty pumped that I'm only going to have to pay $30 for the expansion pack. Now, the interesting thing about this expansion pack, from what I understand, is that it's not going to be a new campaign, as you might have expected from the sort of the traditional expansion pack sort of motif. What this is more like what they do for the Civilization games, where they're just adding more content to the existing game. So you're still going to be playing through this same campaign, the same alien invasion, and the same story arc, but with an additional soldier type, new weapons, new abilities, new ways to modify your soldiers, new enemy types, a bunch of new maps, basically a bunch of stuff that's going to add a lot more variation and variety to the core gameplay of XCOM. So on one hand, I'm kind of excited because obviously I love this game and I want more content for it. That's great. But on the other hand, I am slightly disappointed that it's not going to continue the story. There's not going to be any progression of what I've already seen, having beaten the campaign several times. So, it's entirely possible that there could be little things thrown in here and there, like they might sprinkle some things into the story arc, to kind of spice it up a bit, or give it some variation depending on choices you make. But it is slightly disappointing to me that I already know going into it that it's not going to fundamentally change this experience, maybe in the way that I would have preferred. And of course, the other thing that I'm a little bit bummed out is that it's not a true sequel. It's not a true re-envisioning of the game. Like, there are definitely a lot of major changes that I'd like to see made in this game that I think would make it a better game, that I guess we're going to have to wait for a proper sequel to get. Not the least of which being I would love to see some sort of campaign co-op opportunity, because as much as I love playing this game, I'm very conscious of the fact that when I'm playing it, I'm not playing with my friends, which is kind of a bummer. And I have enough friends who are into games like this that it would be nice to be able to play with them. Even if, say, we had two bases in different parts of the world and we were responding to different missions, but we were in like a shared environment or something like that. Just something to tie it in and have more of a shared experience, I think would be really great. Or like, if I had a base and my friend had a base and we could go on joint missions where we, try to complete a mission cooperatively and then both of our bases benefit from that. Or, there's tons of things you could do with that concept that I would love to see done in a proper sequel, but apparently from all indications that I've seen, Enemy Within being an expansion pack to this game is not going to tackle anything like that. So the other reason I bring all this up is because obviously being in the middle of a classic Iron Man playthrough of the game as it stands right now, the series is likely, very likely, in fact, to not be over by the time this expansion pack comes out. And what that's got me thinking about is whether or not it makes sense to just continue the series as is, knowing that at some point I'm going to install this expansion pack and it's probably going to drastically change the dynamic of the game while I'm in midstream. Do I just stop the series here and restart it when the expansion comes out? What makes the most sense to do in this context, and what do people who are already kind of committed to watching this, I know there aren't that many of you, but certainly it would probably be good for you to let your voices be heard and let me know what you'd prefer that I do. Would you rather just say, hey, I know this expansion's coming out in a couple of months, just hold off and restart with the expansion turned on so we can see that from the beginning? Or do we just keep going and when the expansion hits, things just change as a result of that? What would you guys who are watching prefer to see? So definitely let me know about that, and I'll take that into consideration moving forward. It'll probably be a little while before I do another episode, just because, as I said before, my time is kind of limited. So you'll definitely have time to give feedback on that before I even record the next episode of the game in the state that it's in now. So, having said all that, it's probably time to start looking at what we're going to do with our base. And honestly, it's been a little while since I've played, so I kind of need to look at engineering and look at where we're at with facilities and remind myself of what we need to do. So let's see, we got our workshop built, we got our satellite uplink built. We have no money right now, but we're excavating that. Okay, yeah, setting everything up. Yeah, because I mean, even though this is the 5th episode, and even though I've been doing a mission and base building per episode, you can still see that we're fairly early in the game. So restarting when that expansion comes out might not be that big of a deal. The only problem being that given the rate that I currently produce content, it may be a while before you get to see anything beyond this point if we restart when the expansion hits. So that might be the advantage to just kind of jumping in and having things change dynamically whenever that becomes available. So let's look at the globe. Okay, so we got a satellite coming online.
Commander, our satellite is
and standing by for launch.
Speak of the
Get ready
devil.
to deploy it on your orders.
All right. I always forget that time does in fact pass when you're just screwing around in the base. It's just very slow. Okay, so xenobiology in 3 days, officer training school in 6 days, council report in 11 days. Let's look at our panic situation, because I want to start thinking about where we're going to deploy the satellite. It looks like it's going to have to be Egypt if we don't want to lose them when the month changes. Unless we get lucky and get a chance to go to Egypt and knock this down by doing a mission. It's looking like this is where our satellite's going to have to go. And the other thing we'll have to make sure is if we do end up deploying in Egypt, we'll have to move an interceptor. We should have a spare at the start of the game here. We'll have to move that interceptor or buy an interceptor for Egypt so that when the satellite gets over Africa, the aliens can't just shoot it down. Because that would be a big loss for us to lose a satellite this early in the game. So let's see, do we have any current objectives? No, I think we just need to pretty much make it through this month. Yeah, no, I think we're pretty good. So let's go ahead and advance the globe. Scan for life forms. You precious little life forms.
You're telling me that we should risk the lives of our troops so we can take one of these things alive?
Yes. Without a live specimen, I'm afraid we've reached the pinnacle of what my team is able to accomplish.
Okay, so I'm not going to let that whole cutscene play, but as I've said many times, getting to the point where you finish xenobiology research basically triggers that event and allows you to proceed to the next objective in the game. So now we need to build an alien containment facility, and that will be indicated. Alien containment we need to build. We need to make sure that we have the arc thrower as our next research item. That will take 9 days.
I appreciate your efforts to support the research team, Commander. I've already put the new recruits to work in the lab.
Good for you. Crack the whip. All right. So now
Dr. Vaughn expects our troops to try to bring one of those things back here in one piece.
this is kind of a
Alive.
critical turning point in the game, right? Because now you'll see when I come to the Situation Room, I have the objectives. So now we need to construct the containment facility. We're researching the arc thrower. Basically, the more of these objectives we complete in a given month, the kind of better off we are in terms of progress, achieving what the council wants us to achieve. Now, typically what I'll do in a situation like this where I've gotten access to this before the first month has actually ended is I'll sandbag a little bit. Like, I won't necessarily try to get all of these objectives done before the council meeting. I might try to
Several contacts at the moment.
get some of it, but I want to save some of this for the next month so that we can get a good council report that month too. Mostly for the first month, I'm just concerned about controlling the panic and making sure nobody freaks out to the point where they leave the program. And we are going to get the arc thrower researched before the month ends, and if I need to, I might even be able to build an arc thrower, which would allow us to get even more credit, towards completing that objective for this first month. And it'll even give you more details about exactly what you're supposed to do and how that's relevant. All right, so looking here, yeah, so we're gonna the arc thrower is not actually going to come until after the council report. I see that now, so we're not even worried about that for the moment. We're just going to get our officer training school built and then say like 3 days before the council report, because that's how long it takes to move a satellite. We're going to deploy that satellite over Egypt unless a mission comes up that lets us do it sooner.
online.
Alright. So, yeah. Let's see. Let me just double check something real quick. Yeah, so I don't have enough money to actually do anything with that training school, which is unfortunate. I do want to look and see. Let me just make sure I do. Yeah, I do have 2 ships. Okay. So I am going to send one of these to Africa, just to get it out of the way, because it takes a few days for that to actually happen.
From here, you can arrange to have our interceptors transferred to bases throughout the world. By stationing our fleet on various continents, we'll have a much better chance of intercepting new UFO contacts in those areas.
Yeah, so you can see it takes 3 days for that transfer to occur. So basically what I'm going to do is, now I'll get the credit for launching that satellite immediately, so I actually don't have to launch it over Egypt until the very last second before the council report happens. But I also don't want to push it too much, because sometimes things can get sketchy. Let me go a little bit further towards the council report.
Aircraft transfer complete.
Okay, so I'm likely not gonna get another mission in Egypt before the council report happens, so I'm going to just launch that satellite and deal with that problem. And now, because I already have the interceptor over there, it will handle any aliens that try to go attack that satellite once it's in place. And you see immediately that knocks down the panic level in Egypt, and that'll prevent them from bailing out of the program when the council report hits, which is why we did that. Let's go ahead and scan.
Incoming transmission.
Yeah, so see, I needed to do that because there was no opportunity to reduce the panic in Egypt any other way.
We are extremely impressed with the progress of the XCOM project thus far, Commander. Your recent results were beyond our expectations, and that is not a statement this council makes lightly.
But yeah. Alright. So as you can see, it'll sum up, what you've done in the month, and basically I couldn't have done much better. I don't even know that I've ever seen an A+. I don't even know if it's possible to get an A+, but as you can see, everybody's still on board. We've got some high panic levels in a couple different places, but we're getting our money from the places where we have satellite coverage. We're getting our scientists and our engineers and all the things we're getting from our bonuses. So, all in all, a pretty good first month. The only real bad thing that happened in this first month is I wasted a little bit of money, like maybe 20 or 30 credits, just, buying things maybe before I needed to. And I lost that one sniper unit that I really shouldn't have in the previous mission. But other than that, pretty much did this by the numbers, I would say.
Remember, we will be watching.
Alright, so the best thing about the council report happening is that now we actually have some money to play with again. Now, we don't have a ton of money, but we have some. Now, the thing we have to keep in mind, though, before we start running around and spending that money willy-nilly, is that we have objectives that we need to complete. And it's kind of weird that the objectives are not showing up on the bottom of the thing here like they were before. We thought they did that by default, but yeah, that's weird. Well, anyway, we know what we have to do. We have to build the arc thrower, we have to build the alien containment, and we have to capture an alien, basically.
We're always glad to have more help down here.
And now that we have 15 engineers, that'll greatly improve what we can do. Okay, so let's look at, let's see, right now we have a bit of a power issue because right now we're using all the power we're making. Now I'm not quite ready to dig down to this next level and build the access left and get on this steam vent to make a really sweet power generator. But what I can do is I can put one here so that when I eventually do make a better power generator down here, it'll be linked to this, and we can kind of get a nice cluster of generators potentially going like all around this if we need to. But for the time being, let's just throw one in here so that we have the power we need to build alien containment, which we also need. Unfortunately, this just takes money, so this is just 60 credits and no other resources, so it's kind of an easy thing to take care of just to get our power situation under control. Now, the other thing we need to do is once this is built, we need to immediately get on the alien containment situation because it's going to take time to build that facility, and we definitely want to make sure it's ready for us to do a live capture by the time our next couple of missions come up, because the thing is we can't capture a live alien until we have that facility built. So even if we go on a mission and we have the arc thrower, it's not going to do us any good until we have the containment facility built. So one thing I do want to look at is what it's going to actually take to build that. So basically we need 5 power, which we'll get from the generator, and we need to make sure we save 85 credits of our pool to be able to build that facility when we need it. So luckily the power generator only takes 5 days to build at this point.
If the aliens were intent on conquering Earth, there's not much we could do to stop them. I'm guessing they have something else in mind.
One thing I heard about the expansion pack is that it's going to give you the option to curtail the little voiceovers that pop up every so often when you're playing. And for people like me who've played through this game a few times, that's a very welcome option to have. Alright, so the arc thrower is just about ready to be built. Hopefully we can get this power generator built before the next mission starts so I can queue up the building of alien containment. Alright, let's do new research. There's our arc thrower. Okay, now at this point, now that we've kind of triggered the next kind of plot point, what I generally like to do is go for the quick techs. Because we're not going to get satellite coverage over South America anytime soon, there's no real point in saving these autopsies for the We Have Ways perk, which makes them instantaneous. So we might as well just knock them out now while we can quickly and get some nice little perks and benefits and open up the research tree a little bit. Experimental warfare, I don't think that's going to lead to anything that we absolutely need right now, but it's my only real debate right now is whether I go for the autopsies first or experimental warfare first. That is one thing I wish the game did, was tell you what things are going to lead to, but I guess that's kind of part of the motif, right, is that like they don't necessarily want you to know unless you've played the game enough to just know by default. But it's only a few more days to get that one out of the way, and then we can just start knocking out the autopsies. So let's just get that one that's a little longer done before we move on.
Satellite coverage now available over Egypt.
Okay, so this is going to be where we end up stopping because we're going to choose which mission.
Commander, we have multiple reports of new abductions in progress. The locations are marked on the hologlobe.
We're going to do, and then we're going to break before the combat starts for the next mission. Okay, so Canada is a difficult mission with some scientists. Their panic's bad, but it's not terrible. And I probably will deploy a satellite to Canada soon So if their panic gets out of control, that's not a big concern to me. And the scientists really aren't an attractive enough perk for me to want to do that mission. So I think I'm going to pass on Canada. Very difficult for 4 engineers. Argentina. Possible. A heavy sergeant from India. Yeah, I think I'm more interested in keeping the panic in Argentina under control than I am with getting another heavy sergeant right now, especially since I did just acquire a leveled up unit in the last mission. I think I'd rather have the extra engineers and get this panic under control because I'm not sure when I'm going to get the opportunity to deploy satellites down here, so I don't want this panic to get out of control before I can be financially equipped to deal with it in other ways. So yeah, we'll go for the engineers in this case. Alright, now there are a couple things I could look at doing here. I probably could dump some money into officer training and unlock one of these slots to take another person with me. The only thing that I might hesitate about doing that is I don't really have a lot of extra money right now. So let me back out of here and just look at officer training real quick and see how much it costs to unlock that slot. Squad size, it's only 50 credits. So I think I'm okay to do that. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because I need... I'm gonna do this. It might be a mistake doing this early, but I really would like to get more soldiers on the field so I can have my team be more effective as soon as possible. I am going to run into money problems, though, as a result of that, but I think I should be able to deal with them with some fancy bookkeeping. Okay, so that's going to get me what I need there. I don't think I have any new weapons or equipment that I need to buy. Let's just get to that abduction. And remember, I said this in my Ironman guide on the blog, but don't forget you can back in and out of these missions, before you launch them. So there's no reason at all why you can't do what I just did. As long as you don't spend too much time setting things up, enough time won't pass for you to lose access to the mission. So like if you need to go and buy equipment or buy something from the officer school or whatever, you always have time to do that before the mission goes away. So don't feel like you have to immediately go into a mission as soon as it appears. You have some time to fiddle around in the base before you actually launch it. Let's see. I like this tactical sense. Yeah. I'm always more about the being more defended when you're confronted with the enemy than about being more offensive, especially because it's only affecting critical chance. I'd rather just be harder to kill when there are a lot of enemies facing me. And lightning reflexes. Yeah, this is another thing I always take on assaults because when you have to move into their area of operation, forcing them to miss their first Overwatch shot is pretty important. So I'm definitely going to take that because that'll allow the assault to really bust in there and screw them up in a way that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. So yeah, we're shotgun, that's fine. Frag grenade, that's fine. Alright. Okay, so we got our sniper with her scope. Got our heavy with the frag grenade. Got assault with the frag grenade. And support with a frag grenade. So let's bench the... actually, let's bench our sergeant assault. Nah, actually, no. We're not going to do that. We'll bench... I really want to get a rookie in here because I want to continue to fill out our bench. And since we already have a sergeant assault, let's look at just getting our next available rookie in this other assaults slot. There we go. And let's just make sure our support, I believe we have a medical kit to work with. No, did we never buy one? I guess we never bought one. Well, I don't think this support really benefits from it tremendously yet, because they haven't leveled up to the point where they can really get a lot out of it. And I really don't want to spend the money on a medical kit right now, even though they're really cheap at this point. I think I'd rather have the frag grenade, honestly, just more damage potential. Okay, yeah, we'll roll with this lineup for right now, or for this mission, and hopefully be able to get that rookie a level in the course of this.
Touching down.
The area of engagement for this mission will be in India. We've picked up a local broadcast indicating alien activity within a major metropolitan area.
Oh my goodness, did I just go to the wrong place? I think I did. I was supposed to go to Argentina. When I went back to the map, I picked the wrong place. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. So now I'm going to have to worry about that panic in Argentina. Oh well. Well, we'll get a nice unit out of this anyway. It's not the end of the world. That's not the end of the world. I completely forgot that I was supposed to go to Argentina.
Copy that, Big Sky. Strike 1 is cleared to engage hostile targets. Watch your backs out there, people.
Alright, so as usual, if you are enjoying the series, if you have questions or comments or suggestions or anything like that, please feel free to post those to the YouTube video. Don't forget there is a playlist for this series on my YouTube channel. If you want to go back and see the previous episodes, I always add the new ones to that playlist as soon as they are available. And like I said earlier, if you have thoughts in particular on how to address the new expansion pack when it comes out as part of this, be sure to let me know about those as well. But until next time, pay attention when you click on the map. Alright.